Welcome to the session Master Security and Compliance in the Public Cloud. My name is Tüffers and I'm a Senior Cloud Architect with Deutsche Börse AG. And I'm doing this session together with Mollison from Google Cloud. In the beginning, I would like to give you a short overview on Deutsche Börse Group. So we are a so-called market infrastructure provider, and as such, technology is really in our DNA. Our first fully automatic electronic trading system was launched in the late 90s. This one is operating on lowest latency networks and technology. And together with our co-location partners, we are operating one of the largest European financial data centers. All our core business applications are actually self-developed and self-maintained. And we do this with around about 2,000 people in our IT. Our core is really our trading and clearing applications. As you can see, we use them not only for securities trading, but in the end for any kind of financial derivatives trading, currency trading, but also trading of commodities like energy. In addition, Deutsche Börse Group is offering pre-trading services. So we calculate real-time indexes like, for example, the DAX and the stocks. We also operate ultra-low latency data feeds for our customers. The post-trading area is dealing with settlement and custody services. And in addition, we offer value-added services like investment fund services or collateral management. Everything of this is backed by our information technology. As you can see, we are really a core element of the European and global capital market. And as such, we are under scrutiny of the highest regulatory supervision, not only by the German regulator, but also by regulations in Luxembourg, Switzerland, and the UK. Deutsche Börse Group is using public cloud as one of the main technologies to drive our roadmap 2020. Public cloud is fueling our foundations for other technologies, like, for example, blockchain-based services. We develop and run blockchain-based services for digital assets or digital custody. In addition, we leverage public cloud for analyzing big data sets of us or of our customers. And we also make use of machine learning capabilities. So as you can see, public cloud is adding a lot of agility into our mix, because with this, we can react dynamically to changing business demands, and we can leverage new technologies to develop new solutions for our customers. But we use public cloud also to improve the overall quality of our systems. And this is achieved by standardization and automation, and by the additional possibilities which public cloud offer to us. As a good example, our core trading platform called T7 is spinning up every night hundreds of test instances in order to conduct some kind of random tests, so-called monkey tests. And then, based upon the behavior of this, we can improve the overall quality. Of course, we use public cloud also to reduce the operational cost by standardization and automation. We are implementing a so-called multi-cloud hybrid cloud strategy. As you can see on the lower right corner, we are not leveraging only the Google Cloud platform. In addition, we team up with all the hyperscalers in the infrastructure as a service and platform as a service area. And also for software as a service, we work together with the market leaders. The multi-cloud strategy is important to us because it allows us to select really the best service for each use case. But in addition, it also prevents the vendor lock-in. And this is something which is demanded by the regulators. So whenever we move workloads into the public cloud, we have to provide a so-called exit strategy. The exit strategy could be that we either fall back to on-premise or that we move the workload from one public cloud into the other public cloud. In order to do so, we implemented a hybrid approach, leveraging technologies like container and Kubernetes. This allows us to dynamically shift workloads between on-premise and the different cloud service providers. Now we know, of course, that this is not just on a quick switch, but in the end, it's sufficient that we can prove that within a certain time frame, we can move workloads out of one cloud and move it back to another one. Now let's look into the security aspects. This picture, I guess, is very familiar to most of you. It outlines the so-called shared responsibility model. On the lower part, you see the responsibilities of the cloud service provider, which deal with the so-called security of the cloud. This covers typically the data centers, physical hardware network up to the hypervisor level, but also the cloud services itself. And also the IT processes in the back, things like access management, incident management, or capacity management. On top of that, you have the security in the cloud. This is our responsibility as a customer. So we have to make sure that we provide secure access into the cloud. We have to define appropriate roles. We have to define security guardrails to make sure that we don't compromise on the high level of security when we move into the public cloud. Typically, the lower part is tackled by looking at external certifications, external reports like ISO 27000, SOC 2 Type 2 reports, and so on. But the regulator made it crystal clear to us that only looking at these kind of certifications and attestations by third-party providers is not sufficient. They deem the use of cloud services similar like the classical outsourcing, and hence we need to have the same control mechanisms in place. And one of them is that we need to have an unrestricted right to audit, that we really can uncover and look into the details how the cloud service provider is implementing all the required security controls. Now, if we would do this alone, this would mean a lot of effort for us, because as you have seen previously, we work with a lot of different cloud service providers together. And an audit is typically an engagement which takes a couple of weeks or even months, and you need a lot of people in order to do so. On the other side, this is also a lot of effort for the cloud service provider, because it's not only us having this unrestricted right to audit, but in the end, all institutes in the same area. So for example, all the financial service institutes. Hence, we came up a couple of years ago with the idea of a collaborative audit group. The collaborative audit group is an open format where financial service institutes jointly together conduct an audit with the cloud service provider. This has been proven in 2017 the first time in a small proof of concept. Then 2018 was really the first large-scale audit conducted. And in 2019 also Google Cloud Platform was audited by the collaborative audit group. Currently, there's around about 40 different financial service institutes in the collaborative audit group. But as mentioned, any financial institute can join here in. For the security in the cloud part, we based ourselves on the ISO 27001 framework. Together with our information security colleagues, we identified 7 focus domains where we put a lot of effort into implementing security controls to achieve the high level of security which we are known for our on-premise infrastructure as well. So the focus domains are here shaded in light blue and cover things like asset management, access control, cryptography, and so on. So we concluded with our colleagues that we needed 20 different initiatives in order to implement all the required controls to cover the mentioned ISO domains. So as you can see, this is pretty much a mix of where we extend already existing solutions. A good example is your CyberArk for privileged access management, or where we identified the cloud-native services as appropriate, for example, in the area of key management and secrets management. Sometimes also we identified that there's neither a solution on-premise available nor a cloud-native solution available, and we did an evaluation of a new tool. A good example here is Aquasec for compliance checking of containers in our Kubernetes setup. Now, as you can see, applying security in the cloud is a lot of effort. It's a lot of effort because on one side, there's always new requirements coming from the regulators and new security threats out there. And on the other side, also the cloud service providers are always offering new services and new possibilities. But what we found is that in the end, applying security in the cloud is something which is the same for every client. So it's not only us doing the configuration, doing the security guardrails, configuration, the role definition, and so on. In the end, every client, at least under the same regulation, has to redo the same effort. And we thought, how could this be made more efficient? And the idea we discussed with Google here is that the cloud service provider could take back some part of the responsibility. of the security in the cloud by providing things like certified landing zones, which are compliant by default. And I think this not only increases the security posture for the clients and puts down the barriers of moving really critical workloads into the cloud, we think this is also increasing the overall security posture for Google. And this is why we came into close discussion with Grace, and thankfully now I hand over for her to continue.
Thank you, Christian. So Christian called out some focus domains from the 14 control domains in ISO 27001. Google Cloud is able to provide guardrails and controls to address these with native tooling, as well as being able to integrate partner solutions to help with implementing the controls. I'm just showing here some native ways to help meet the requirements, but we have a rich partner ecosystem that can also help, so you can leverage your existing investment in those partner solutions. Today, however, I'm going to focus on responding to these challenges Christian set us. How do we address security in the cloud for many customers who all have different business goals and applications? How can we make it efficient to address? How do we clearly distinguish who does what in a shared responsibility model? And what about the certified landing zones? So Christian is right. It's the same challenge for every customer. And taking a cross sample of the questions we've been asked, you can see that other customers are asking the same things Christian has asked. Can I run my regulated workload? What products are certified for the regulation or standard I need to comply with? What do I need to do to achieve my security posture? Our customers then said, we also want a single place to find the assets we need to address our security posture. We responded with the Google Cloud Compliance Resource Center. Security Health Analytics is an exception, but I'll come back to that. The Compliance Resource Center is the way to find Google Cloud's compliance offerings by region and industry, with best practices and documentation to support your compliance reporting needs. You can gain access to Google Cloud's attestations and reports to confirm compliance with a variety of standards and regulations. Google Cloud provides a variety of security guidance to help customers deploy and develop with a security-first mindset. Customers can satisfy themselves that they can reach their security requirements by Google Cloud providing guidance and the ability for customers to implement the guardrails required. We want to provide prescriptive guidance and easily deployable assets, which are collectively our security blueprints. Christian, you may recall, said, what about the idea of a blueprint where the CSP, i.e. the cloud service provider, takes part of responsibility of in the cloud and also provides certified landing zones that are compliant by default? So we do have security blueprints. Google Cloud's definition of a blueprint provides a package of documentation and assets which can be consumed at all stages of the customer lifecycle. The intended users are folks working in the customer's compliance and governance function, and also security administrators. They may be of interest to other users, business or technical, to determine, for example, if certain use cases are feasible. A blueprint package varies in size based on complexity of the use case. So Google Cloud has two types of security blueprints: compliant landing zones, for example, GKE for PCI, and product and workload focus, such as those for Anthos or for your data lake to data warehouse pipeline. The compliant landing zone blueprints have more components than the workload focused blueprints, but both types have the core components that are the what, which explains what controls you need and what you need to do, and the how, which are the deployable assets and instructions. The first compliant landing zone blueprint published is PCI for GKE. GKE is a Google Kubernetes engine. This has a number of deployable assets available in a GitHub repo. It provides comprehensive guidance, includes things like a quick start, prereq, so you can configure your workstation, and diagrams, and lots of known issues and limitations and helpful links. Our first product-specific blueprint collection is for Anthos. The first three are published, and we're working on more. Let's take a closer look at one of the blueprints in the collection, locality-restricted workloads. But first, I'll better give you a short overview of Anthos. Anthos is an open and hybrid multi-cloud application platform, which basically is managed Kubernetes for GKE. It allows you to run GKE where you need to, on Google Cloud, on premises, or another cloud. It provides a consistent way to manage your GKE clusters in a secure manner. Anthos has a security-first approach. It provides an auditable and centralized workflow to deploy config changes, which both your security admins and operations team want. It allows you to enforce compliance. Anthos Service Mesh, which is a key part of the Anthos platform, abstracts some of the lower level security actions needed to secure your microservices with MTLS and certificate management. Now, this isn't a session on Anthos, so don't worry if you don't know what all these things I'm showing you here are. The key thing is that to be able to configure your Anthos environment to meet your locality restriction requirements, to enforce where your applications are deployed or where they can be accessed from, you need to consider a number of things, such as where your services are located, and you need to configure a number of other things to address these considerations. So making it simple and prescriptive to configure is the aim of the security blueprints. To provide prescriptive guidance to help our customers secure their applications takes a village. It starts with our customers, you know. So we work with our engineering teams, UX designers and tech editors to ensure we're delivering guides that are not too jargon heavy, that are validated and easier to consume. In effect, we partner with our customers so the guidance we are providing is not created in a bubble and has customer input from the beginning of the process. But we didn't actually stop at blueprints. Our customers want to know what Google Cloud products are compliant with a given standard, the shared responsibility model, and what steps do they need to take to configure those products so they comply. So the Security Command Center is the answer to that. It's the canonical security and risk database for Google Cloud. It is an intuitive, intelligent risk dashboard and analytics system for surfacing, understanding, and remediating Google Cloud security and data risks across an organization. Note though, it's not a substitute for audit, certification, or reports of compliance of your products or services with any regulatory or industry benchmarks or standards. It's a guide to help you. A key feature of the Security Command Center is Security Health Analytics. In the premium tier, it provides monitoring for many industry best practices and compliance monitoring across your Google Cloud assets. These results can also be reviewed in a compliance dashboard. So here's an example of the Security Health Analytics dashboard when using the premium tier. It's a single place to view how well you're mapping against requirements. Now it's a mouthful, sorry about this. The CIS Google Cloud Foundation 1.0 mappings have been reviewed and certified by the Center for Internet Security for Alignment for the CIS Google Cloud Computing Foundation's Benchmarks V 1.0.0. Additional compliance mappings are included for reference and are not provided or reviewed by PCI or the OWASP Foundation. And I just want to reiterate, as I said earlier, it's not a substitute for audit, certification, or report of compliance of your products or services with any regulatory or industry benchmarks or standards. Still looking at the Security Health Analytics, from the findings page, you can click on the category and we'll provide guidance as to what you need to do to remediate. Okay, so it's a powerful tool to help you. So I just want to kind of bring it all together and talk about the user journey to use these tools that I talked about. You just heard what Google Cloud have done in response to our customers' request to make it easier by providing the Compliance Resource Center as the place to go. Customers have many personas involved in ensuring that they meet their compliance and security requirements. So I just want to summarize by walking you through a typical customer's journey through the Compliance Resource Center, showing how the various personas interact with it. So it normally starts with the CISO in many cases, who wants to check that Google Cloud can meet the desired compliance regime and maybe validation at this stage what products are in scope. If that gets the okay, then the security admins and architects start looking at what Google Cloud can be used for and the configurations they need to be in by using the compliance map, security health analytics, and the blueprints. And then the platform operations, security admins and devs, knowing what security postures need to be met, can use the security health analytics and blueprints to achieve that when they configure their environments and deploy their applications. So everyone in the journey to meeting your compliance and security posture are using the same assets. So thank you for listening, and I hope that was of some use.